Do you want to get the digital nomad visa to stay long-term in Colombia? Then this video is for you. The digital nomad visa was officially launched in October of 2022, and it made staying in Colombia long-term so much easier for expats and digital nomads alike. According to the requirements, this is actually the easiest visa to obtain, but it does have its limitations. In this video, I'll be showing you exactly how to get the digital nomad visa in 7 easy steps. Plus, I'll also be covering some other commonly asked questions. My guest today is Tomas, the head of the immigration department at Nexo Legal. He'll be helping us dive into everything digital nomad visa. So by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to get yours. All right, Tomas, thanks for being on with me today, man. Can you please start off by telling us what's your experience in immigration law in Colombia and why we should be listening to you?
Okay, Akash, it's nice to be with you again. I have been working with this for 3 years, and I have been taking care of all the visa application process for all our clients. I have worked for more than 300 people to help them getting their visas.
How many digital nomad visas have you processed since it became available in 2022?
70,
Okay,
maybe a little bit more.
70 processed. How many approved?
One that wasn't approved.
Only one disapproved.
Yeah, only one disapproved, and it was because our client was not very clear with his situation. When he sent us the documents, it seems that he was working for a company, but actually he was working for his dad, who has a registered trademark.
They rejected it because of that.
Yeah, they rejected it because of that, because it wasn't a company that wasn't employing him.
Okay, well, we're going to get into that a bit today, the requirements and how people might slip up. The digital nomad visa, I would say, is probably the easiest visa to get accepted for in the terms that it's like the least amount of requirements, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's the one that has the easiest documents to get.
Yeah.
So it's the easiest requirements.
I have heard a lot of people who are digital nomads, but they don't tell their companies and they actually work from Colombia with a VPN. And don't say anything yet, but we're going to get into it in a little bit later why that might be a big problem with your digital nomad visa. But let's get into the first question about the digital nomad visa. Who is eligible? Is this available for all countries and people of all ages, or is there some sort of limitations?
It is not available for people from those countries which Colombia asks for visitor or tourist visas to come to Colombia. So for example, most Asia, Africa, the Middle East, those people are not eligible.
Sorry for you guys, but most people who are watching this channel are from the US, Canada, UK, Australia, all those countries that can come into Colombia and immediately get that 90-day tourist stamp. They can get the digital nomad visa.
Exactly.
Okay. What about age restriction? Is it any age?
There is not any age.
You can be 10?
If you can get a job being 10.
That's a good point.
If you can get a bank account being 10.
Oh, sorry, that's also a good point. Okay, so most likely 18 and above, more or less.
Exactly.
Can you tell me a bit about the application process? So, for example, I come to you now and I say, Tomas, I want to apply for the digital nomad visa. How long do I need to allow so that I don't become illegal in the country? If you were my lawyer and you had to give me a recommendation, you'd tell me to start when?
2 months before your tourist permission is about to end. Because for example, the visa regulations says that all the documents that comes from outside of Colombia that are going to be used in a visa application has to be apostille. So for example, the certification that the company that is employing you has to give you, most of the times it has to be apostille. So apostilling a document could create a delay.
And they normally ask for that, but
They normally ask for that.
that's the next question. What documents, Tomas, are typically required when you want to apply for a digital nomad visa?
Like the certification from your company,
Okay.
that you work for them,
Yep.
how much you earn, and a specific sentence which says that you're allowed to work remotely.
So with that letter from the company, this is what we were talking about before. You can't be telling your company, I'm here in California working from home, and then you're using VPN from Colombia, because you actually need a letter from them, right? They need to say, maybe the boss of your company, this person, John Smith, I allow him to work from Medellin, Colombia.
It doesn't have to say that.
Okay.
It only have to say that you're allowed to work remotely. And the certification doesn't has to come to the Colombian Ministry of Foreign Affairs. It could go to with my concern.
So there's a little trick. Anybody wants to do some finessing, it actually just has to say, to whom it may concern, John Smith is allowed to work remotely. He makes this much money a month. He works for this company, probably like a company letterhead or something.
Company letterhead, he do this kind of task,
Okay.
etc., etc.
So that's number one. Letter from your company. What's next?
Bank statements,
How long?
usually it's for 3 months, but we suggest to use the last 6 months if possible.
Okay. And how much must you earn per month?
3 times the Colombian minimum wage.
Maybe you're watching this video a year later or whatever. It's increasing every year. So just go to Google and search Colombian minimum wage, and then you'll get a number, and then you can just times that by 3. Right now, we're talking about $1,000 a month. What else we need?
To prove then that you have an insurance plan that is covering you for the time that you are planning to be in Colombia.
Mm-hmm.
So usually people got it for a year.
Tell me about what type of insurance we need. There's some certain requirements or certain 4 or 5 things that the insurance needs to cover, right?
Illness, accidents, death, and repatriation of the corpse in case of death. Those are the basic coverage. There is not a minimum coverage amount requested by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Most of the plans that have those coverage can fit the requirement.
So guys, at this point, I'd like to tell you about some research that I've recently been doing regarding insurance. So the best possible insurance that you can get if you plan to use it is Sura. I've done a couple of videos with an insurance agent who sells the Sura insurance. So if you want more information on that, I've left the links to those videos in the description. But if you just want the cheapest insurance that's going to satisfy the requirements of the digital nomad visa, then you probably want to get Safety Wing. It's only about $45 a month for anyone aged 39 and under. But if you want to get your own quote, just scroll down, click the first link in the description of this video, then hit pricing. Then you're going to put in your details and you're going to put in a year, because obviously you need to show Colombian immigration that you have insurance valid for a year to get the digital nomad visa. So once you put that in, click next and it will give you your own quote. And at that point you can hit sign up and then you can go from there. Let's say we've got all the documents together. We've applied for the digital nomad visa. How long do you get the digital nomad visa for? Because I heard in some instances people getting it for 2 years, even though probably 99% of people have got it for 1 year.
Yeah, like the digital nomad visa by law could be given for up to 2 years.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't mean that you cannot renew it after 2 years.
Yeah.
It means that every time that they are giving you the visa, it could be from 6 months or even less to 2 years.
Have you got anyone 2-year visa?
No.
Zero. Have you heard of people getting it?
I have heard of people getting it. I have seen visas for 2 years.
And do you know why? How can we do that? What's the secret?
It depends on a lot of things. It depends of the officer who is in care of the visa application. Sometimes, like depending on where are you applying, there are some different officers.
Another thing I've heard, a rumor. I heard that if you apply from your own home country for the digital nomad visa, you're more likely to get 2 years. True or false?
False.
Okay.
It's not true always. The time that I saw the digital nomad visa given for 2 years, it was given in a consulate in the US. But I have applied for a lot of visas from consulates in the US.
Okay.
And none of them was for 2
Okay,
years.
so myth busted.
Yeah.
That's incorrect. Okay, so it's basically just depends who you get on that day, how they're feeling. But one thing that we should know, many people don't know this. I always send people comments about this on YouTube. One big downfall or downside of the digital nomad visa is that it's still a tourist visa. So you can apply, unless they change the rules, you can apply for 100 digital nomad visas back to back to back to back for 100 years, and you still won't qualify to be a Colombian resident.
Exactly, because it's a tourist visa.
Can you tell us the difference between the tourist visas and the migrant visas?
Like the tourist visa is for those who doesn't want to to stay in Colombia for a long period of time.
So this is like the student visa, digital nomad visa. All these visas come under the umbrella of visitor visa.
Yeah, those people don't want to establish
themselves in Colombia. Okay. And then the other type of visa is the migrant visa, and that's more for people like me who want to stay and live here, right? But that's a topic for another video. Let's stick on the topic of the digital nomad visa, right? Does the visa have any specific requirements regarding the nature of the remote work?
You have to be or a contractor or an employee of the company, or you can work as a freelance for the company, but you have to work for a company. It cannot be an individual.
So I can't do it.
Like sometimes people create their own companies.
Okay, you can do that?
Like it makes the process a little bit difficult.
But you've had people approved?
Yeah, I have people approved.
I can be AK Joel Films, employing AK Joel,
Exactly.
approved.
Yeah, not that easy because like you have to pay yourself. You have to file taxes in the country you have your company established. Like sometimes it's a lot of work
Yeah.
just for a visa that is not allowing
And
you.
it's only 1 year.
Yeah, it's only 1 year. It's not allowing you to collect time to get a residency.
Okay, here's a very contentious question that everybody wants to know. People on the digital nomad visa, do they need to pay tax?
Taxes here in Colombia are not related to the way you are staying in the country. Like even if you are a resident, a digital nomad, a tourist, like whatever you are, if you get to be in Colombia for 183 days in a period of 365 days, then you have to file taxes here.
And that's not calendar year we're talking about. We're talking about any 365. So it could be July 1st to July 1st.
Yeah, it's basically a window that it's moving.
It's moving, yeah. So if you exceed 183 days, then what do you do?
Then you have to look for an accountant and file your taxes here. Some countries have like treaties with Colombia, so they don't ask you to pay as much taxes, or they have like a specific process for that. But most of the countries don't have that. You have to pay taxes. Sometimes in your country, if your country asks you to pay taxes, even if you're not a tax resident in there, as for example the US, but you can discount or deduct that taxes that you have already paid from what you have to pay in Colombia, which is usually between 35 to 39%.
It's a lot.
Yeah, but like with a good tax planning, it's something that won't be that bad. And you can deduct a lot of expenses and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's 35%, but not of your whole income.
Everybody who's on the digital nomad visa is more or less going to be staying in the country for over 183 days. They're going to be exceeding that. 35 to 39 tax payment sounds like a lot, but that's not the reality of tax that you pay if you do some good tax management, have a good accountant and stuff, right? So if you want some more information on that, jump onto medellinmasterclass.com. We actually did a module fully explaining everything about tax by the tax specialist at Nexo Legal. So if you want more information, medellinmasterclass.com, our full course will explain it to you. But let's jump to the next question, yeah? Once you've applied for the visa, everything's in, what's a typical processing time for it?
After placing the visa application and after paying for the visa study fee, they have like a limited period of time to give you an answer, 30 calendar days. Sometimes they could take more time. They will notify you that they are taking some time to review your application, and then they are giving you an answer. It goes from 7 days to 30 days.
So here's a question for you. Out of all the 70 odd visas that you've processed, what's the average processing time that you've seen?
Like I would say 20 days.
20 days, about 3 weeks. All right, so now I want some advice from you, Tomas, okay? Based on your experience of processing 70 plus digital nomad visas, do you have any tips or recommendations for someone who's wanting to get a digital nomad visa and things to look out for?
Well, to have a good labor certification letter, make sure that the company that they are working for actually is like established as a corporation, LLC, or whatever kind of company that could be in the country that the company is established. What else? Don't wait to the last time to apply for the visa. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs could ask you for whichever document they want to see, and maybe that could affect you, and maybe you're going to be illegal here, or you will have to leave the country. So don't wait to the last minute to apply for your visa.
So now you know everything you need to know about getting the digital nomad visa. If you need someone to help you, which I highly recommend, you might want to use Tomas. Tomas is amazing because he's had 70 nomad visas approved over the last year and only one was rejected. And that's because he got the wrong information from the client. So take that out and he has a 100% success rate. So if you want to get in touch with him, click the link in the description, fill out the form, and he'll be in touch with you to help you get your own digital nomad visa.